Did you know you cannot get into some national parks without a reservation? Because most people don't. And that mistake gets thousands of visitors turned away at the gate. I've studied the new national park reservation system, from Yosemite's time entries to Glacier's vehicle permits, so you don't have to. In this video, I'm going to break down how to avoid to get shut out at the gate, the tricks to grabbing last-minute permits, and which parks still let you in without advance booking. Stick around because these tips can literally save your trip. My name is Shane with MapBound, and please let us know in the comments below if you think the reservation system is a good or a bad thing. Due to less staff as well as higher visitor numbers, several parks have initiated reservation systems. Yosemite has a temporary timed entry for peak hours. Rocky Mountain, Glacier, Arches, Great Smoky Mountains, Muirwoods, and Haleakalā each has their own system for managing vehicles and visitor flow, with requirements ranging from permits to parking passes. National parks are seeing record amounts of people going to them, and due to budget cuts, there is a lot less staff. To prevent gridlock and to protect landscapes, more and more parks are experimenting with timed entries. I've actually been to St. Island in Maryland, and they would only let 100 people on the area of that island that we wanted to go to at any single time. So the only way I was able to get in is when a vehicle left, they'd let somebody in. So you ended up having to wait your turn in line to get in. And parking permits and reservations for popular hikes. So visitors without reservations may be turned away at the gate, regardless if you drove far to get there. The new system improves the flow for those who have permits, but also adds complexity and stress to your trip planning. It's shifting the national parks, spontaneous road trips. Now you're gonna have to be more careful when planning your trips. With this new system, reservation windows can open 6 months in advance, and they can also sell out in hours. Some systems are dynamic. Permits can drop daily or weekly for last-minute planners. Now, even though the park needs a reservation to get into, just keep in mind the campgrounds and their reservation system are still separate from this, and often are harder to secure. Parking reservations for trailheads, like Haleakalā for Sunrise, are required but are often overlooked. Now the pros will check each system's park individually because rules vary widely, like Yosemite's timed entry or like the Rocky Mountains day use permits. Another thing the pros do is they look for alternative measures. For instance, if you do go to Yosemite and you do use the Hetch Hetchy entrance, there is no timed entry required for that particular entrance. They also build flexibility into their trip, so if you can't get into a park, then they always have a backup plan of something to do instead of. Now you can also follow ranger updates on like Twitter or X or official NPS pages for last minute openings or pilot changes. And camping in America isn't what it used to be, with record numbers of RV owners, van lifers, and weekend campers all hitting the road at the same time. And traditional campgrounds are bursting at the seams, with sites in California and other popular states commonly booking out 6 months in advance. And even if you do snag a spot, you may be dealt with overflowing trash cans, noise from generators, or too many people packed into too small of a space. At the same time, this is one of the reasons why the National Park System is implementing reservation systems to deal with the massive visitor numbers and making it harder to show up whenever you want. Because of this, campgrounds lose their peace and quiet appeal. And travelers, including myself, often think that they're more crammed into a parking spot than being in the outdoors. And again, this could make it where you drive hours to get to this national park, yet to be turned away at the gate. This frustrates a lot of RVers, and if you're a last minute planner, this is going to hit you the hardest. And when it comes to cancellations or walk-up spots, they disappear fast. The joy of having that flexibility of RV travel is being replaced with calendars, alarms, and booking windows. Of course, we mentioned the Yosemite's timed entry. Now Glacier requires vehicle permits for going on their Sun Road, but just keep in mind that you need to double check with that specific park because they will all be different. Now a lot of newbies forget about boondocking spots, BLM land, national forest dispersed camping, or there could also be some county parks that don't fill up as fast. Also, newbies don't realize that there are apps out there like CampNab that'll notify you if there is a cancellation at the campground you wanted to stay at. Now the pros plan ahead for popular parks and campgrounds. They set reminders for reservation release date, many at which open at 7 a.m. local time about 6 months out. The pros also always go midweek, like Sunday through Thursday, to have a better chance of having a quiet, more enjoyable experience without the crowds. They always scout for alternatives and always have a plan B in mind. Dispersed camping, small state parks, or lesser known entrances like Hetch Hetchy. They also always travel with flexibility. They're always ready to adjust their itinerary whenever necessary. They also know that you can still be more spontaneous if you're not going to major national parks. They also have noise survival kits like earplugs or white noise options in case that they are next to a loud generator. Here's a list of some of the most popular national parks with their reservation type and booking windows. Pause the video to see it, otherwise I'm also going to put it in the description if you'd like to see it there. The National Park Service has lost roughly around 24 to 25% of its permanent workforce since early 2025. At Glacier National Park, employees are down 25%, even though the park is up 7.5% when it comes to visitation. Sparking protests over deteriorating infrastructure as well as safety risks. Across many parks, funding and staffing cuts are severely disrupting day-to-day operations as well as emergency response. At parks like Glacier, this means that less staff, longer wait times, poor trail upkeep, and reduced emergency response. In the broader system, visitor centers are operating under shorter hours, trails aren't being maintained, and key educational programs are often canceled. Fewer rangers and fewer maintenance crews means restrooms will stay messy longer, trash will start piling up, and trails will become overgrown or even unsafe. In some parks, lifeguard posts are completely unfilled. Like Assateague Island, I've been there before, but it does make it more dangerous to swim. This also makes it so that the park staff that is there is actually juggling more roles. The rangers may be cleaning the bathrooms and staffing the parking lots, and that's instead of guiding a tour or maintaining the trails. Now, a lot of the pros will probably already know this. They will actually expect the reduced service. Like visitor centers, the bathrooms, campsites may be closed. They will also always bring extra supplies like hand sanitizer, water containers, or a shovel in case there isn't a restroom available. And again, they plan to have a backup or contingency park in mind in case that one falls through. This is especially true outside of the national parks too as well. Even BML or national forest campgrounds a lot of times can offer safer and better maintained options. And they do also come with real expectations. A once private, tranquil campground may now feel crowded or even unkept. They pack patience, earplugs, and a good attitude. With the 24% of the National Park Service's employees laid off or gone through a combination of determinations, like hiring freezes, early retirements, or buyouts since early 2025. Over 1,000 additional workers have been dismissed, primarily probationary employees. Proposed budget cuts exceed $1 billion, potentially eliminating funding for law enforcement, scientific research, maintenance, operations, and even 350 park units. The construction and maintenance budget was also slashed $37 million, a cut of roughly 21% from the MPCA identified construction budget. The Trump administration's One Big Beautiful Bill rescinded $276 million, according to The Guardian. From the National Park Service budget, the BML recreation budget was cut 62%, and the National Park Service saw an 85% cut in some recreation and preservation areas. Staff was reduced from 209 to 32 in just those areas. Parks like Mammoth Cave, Glaciers, Acadia, Zions are suffering from reduced ranger-led programs, closed facilities, and delayed maintenance, according to the Washington Post. The staffing and emergency support is crumbling. Basic park services are unraveling. Trails, restrooms, visitor centers are suffering. Many are delayed, closed, or entirely inaccessible. Safety gaps are growing. I mean, it's Assateague Island. All 13 lifeguard stands are empty. Big Bend and other parks are reporting leadership and ranger shortages. And again, the rangers are now having to clean the bathrooms instead of guiding tours or even conducting searches. This has created visitor experience to diminish, and many visitors can actually sense the decline now with the fewer programs, more closures, and reduced access to parks they love. Reservation windows for like Yosemite or Arches open around 7 a.m. local time about 6 months out. Other parks are using the rolling release method. Like Glacier or Rocky Mountain National Park, they drop their permits 120 to 60 days ahead. And they do have daily and weekly last minute drops too as well. You can also use recreation.gov's app to notify you if there is a reservation cancellation. Pro tip, most cancellations happen in the evening, so keep an eye out then. And of course, the pros always try to stay in that Sunday through Thursday window when it's not as busy. Another pro tip is try going more in the afternoon, because a lot of the traffic comes in the morning and you'll actually have more of a chance of getting a last minute reservation. The pros also always check for alternative or loopholes in the system. For instance, with Yosemite, Hetch Hetchy entrance does not require the time entry. And Haleakalā requires sunrise reservations, but they don't actually require a permit for the rest of the time. And again, have a backup plan. If denied, pivot to the BLM land, national forest, or nearby state parks, many of which still have dispersed camping without the reservation process. And again, always follow real-time ranger updates. If this video made you feel more confident about beating the reservation system, do me a favor and leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe so more travelers can find the video too as well. Don't miss my other video exposing the hidden sides of campgrounds. That way you can help prevent having a bad trip because of a bad campground. And again, my name is Shane, and I'll see you on the next one.